Former eThekwini Mayor Zandile Gumede is back in court. The state has called its first witness in eThekwini's biggest graft case, whistleblower Mbuso, who was the head of city's integrity and investigations unit, is giving testimony, and he is expected to explain how allegations of corruption in the Durban solid waste tender had landed on his desk. eNCA senior reporter Dasen Thathaih is watching this for us and joins us now to give us this update. Dasen, good morning to you, colleague. I think before we get into today and what's expected in court, let's bring some context as to what happened yesterday.
Well, yesterday was meant to be the big day. That was when we would have seen or rather received the testimony from the first witness. So that, in fact, started, but unfortunately, it ended quite abruptly because of audio issues. So there were certain complaints that people in the gallery, as well as some of the legal team, they couldn't hear the witness, Mbuso when he was testifying. So they were trying to resolve that matter, and as a result, court then ended early. He hadn't really gotten into the meat of it yet, per se, because in the initial parts of his testimony, he was talking about the processes and the responsibilities of the city's integrity and investigation unit. So in essence, this body rests within the eThekwini municipality, and it's responsible for rooting out fraud and corruption. So it relies on people, normal people, municipal employees coming forward, using a hotline, using an email address to give tip-offs to this unit. They have a team of internal investigations. Now, all of this was outlined in Ngobo's testimony yesterday. They have a team of internal investigators which attend to these matters. They look at the particular case, whether there is any authenticity, whether it does require a further investigation. In some cases, like in this matter, they will then get an external forensic panel to handle the matter, and that's what happened here. So this one, we heard, started off as an anonymous tip-off, and apparently there was a bundle of documents, as they called it, that was left at the reception for that office, and a message that was then given to the team to start an investigation on it, because this was a question that arose. How did this case come to be? And as a result of that, there was the initial investigation that was done. The external forensic panel was called in. In this case, IFS, that's the company that was handling it, and they then found through their investigation that 320-odd million had allegedly been siphoned out of the eThekwini municipality during that period of 2016 to 2019.
So, Dasen, I understand that a key whistleblower here in the name of Mbuso will be testifying today.
So Ngobo, who's actually the head of the CIIU, the City's Integrity and Investigation Unit, will then continue his testimony. So it's today that we are expected to find out more about that investigation, about what the details of that were, and how it was handled by the CIIU. It was then handed over, as I said, to the external body, and there will be testimony from those investigators, those forensic investigators later on in the case. You'll recall that 2 days ago, the state had outlined its roadmap, if I could call it that, for how it intends to handle the case. And it had to do that, it says, because of the nature of how much information, how many documents they have, how many records they need to present. So there needed to be some kind of order. But interestingly, yesterday, when the state was wrapping up that opening address, they did that before Ngobo's testimony. They did say that they are confident that after all of this, after they finalize this and they hand in all of those documents and they present their case, they felt, in their view, that there wouldn't be anything other than a guilty verdict.
Yeah, and I suppose, included in the 120, testimonies that are expected, rather in the court case, Dasen, take me through the state strategy here, saying that it intends on further calling on councillors, whom they say were rather called on by Gumede and former councillor Mondli Mthembu, informing them that the Durban solid waste tender was to be renewed and would benefit some councillors as well in the region.
That's right. So there are going to be lots of interesting witnesses that will be called up, those that were somehow either contacted or those that had knowledge of this alleged corruption that was taking place at the eThekwini municipality. So as a result of that, you know, if you had to go back to, there was a diagram that was in that initial address by the state, and they showed how they believed this criminal enterprise, as they call it, operated. So at the top, you had 5 of these officials, Zandile Gumede allegedly being the head of that, Mondli Mthembu being more of the hands-on type of person in this operation, who was the one that gave these instructions to these people. And then there was the accounting officer, the city manager, Sipho Nzuza, the former city manager, Sipho Nzuza. So together, as the top brass of this alleged criminal enterprise, they then pulled the strings. They had these meetings with those below them in cases like this. As you mentioned, councillors who were told, look, this contractor will come in and be attending to the solid waste issues in that area. And that's how money was then shifted. So there will be testimonies from a number of those people that were connected, but also those that became whistleblowers in this matter.